Hello everyone and welcome to State of the Realm, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. This week we're going to be continuing our discussions from last week, but last week we kind of just had mostly DPS representation. So we got an expert healer on and someone who's at least healed one tier, so he's got more to say than we do, that's for certain. I'm one of your hosts, Michael, Mr. Happy Polearm. Of course, joining me is Slyh, aka Slythefox, aka Slyh, aka Greyfox, aka you get a full intro this week because I'm not as tired. How you doing, Slyh?
I'm not either. I'm actually awake. Holy shit.
It's a vast improvement over last week, that's for certain.
Oh, God.
Yes, and certain. And like I said, we needed some extra guests, ones that had a little bit more to say than we did last week. So one of them, you know him. He's a crazy guy that we all love. He likes Beat Saber. I like watching him like Beat Saber. It's Tate. How you doing, Tate?
Hey, what's up, man?
I immediately look at you and I just think Beat Saber, and it makes me smile.
Why?
Because I love rhythm games. I did DDR for like 7 years.
I'm cool with representing that. I'm totally fine with being the face of Beat Saber in your life.
You are, for me. And you're the face of cracking me the fuck up. That's it. I like that. And we also brought on someone who's actually been a request for quite some time, who I don't think I've ever invited on the show, but people want a healer rep, so we got a hardcore healer rep. We got FFXIVMomo, who doesn't have a camera, but he's got a cool image of Gilgamesh that he uses on Twitch.
I'm actually surprised you know that. That's pretty pretty keen eye you got there.
Look who you're talking to. Like, I'm not gonna recognize that that's Gilgamesh.
Big fan of Gilgamesh.
Yeah, buddy. How you doing, Momo?
I'm doing pretty good. It's pretty hot in my room, but you know, I'll live.
I know that feeling. I'm not in Southern California anymore, but my cat's an asshole. I have to chase him around, so I sweat anyway. All right.
Like almost 100 out here right now. It's pretty crazy.
Oh my Jesus, please.
Yeah.
All right, never mind. You win. I'm not even gonna try to compare anymore. Fuck it. It's not worth it. Oh, it's good to have you both on the show. I only asked both of you within 24 to 48 hours ago because that's how I roll, and you for some reason
that's
said
pretty
yes.
much how I plan my life, man. You're good.
You plan it just 24 to 48 hours in advance.
Planning is a loose term for it.
You have an idea. That's at least the least we can say. All right. Well, let's just dive right into it. Of course, real quick, Steel Series, sponsor for the show. Last week we did a quick shout out for them as well. There's a giveaway in the description of the YouTube video for them, as there is every month now that we're back onto a weekly schedule and not missing like 3 shows in 2 months. So thank you for them for sponsoring the show, and be sure to go enter for those giveaways on the YouTube videos, everybody. Do it. And that's it, because we don't have the NVIDIA thing anymore. We gave all those away. We're good on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for those, by the way. All of them.
So,
oh, you're welcome, man.
Go ahead and...
I'm using them greatly.
doing some crypto? Doing some crypto?
Oh, no. I'm still upset about that slide. No, don't do it. Don't bring us there.
All right.
All right.
All
So
right, let's go ahead and ask the question. Just open it up with the question. Are healers doomed?
Slyh, I changed the title of the show because you had a different idea. Why did you just use my old title?
I mean, they have to. Like, healers have to adjust. Like, it's a given. But
Slyh.
yeah, let's just go ahead and ask. Are healers doomed?
I'm gonna let these two speak because we spoke plenty last week, Slyh.
Yeah.
I think Tate said it pretty good on his I don't know if you guys saw the tweet, but he was like, you know, he was talking about how people were complaining about healer and said that, you know, if you like healing the way it is now, you're probably not going to like the Shadowbringers. Remember that tweet?
Yeah. I just think the entire role is going to be appealing to an entirely different demographic than it is right now. Is all there is to it, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely changing. Whether it's for the better or for the worse, it's up to you, I guess, as the as a player. But
right,
we don't really know encounter design specifically yet, and we won't know probably until, you know, right up to like the first raid, because I don't think the primals will tell us much either.
Yeah.
They might. I mean, you can look at. We mentioned it kind of last week. If you look at the dungeon design, even though like people who have played this game for years, they won't have any trouble with the dungeons. It's not like that's suddenly going to be this huge hill to climb. But I mean, just looking at the dungeon bosses at 73, I don't think I've ever seen dungeon bosses at least attempt to harm the party as often as they did in the level 73 dungeon, like back-to-back room-wide AoEs, followed by a tank buster, followed by another mechanic there's like only a few bosses that like really do that in the current game.
The only one that comes to mind immediately is Mist Dragon from the Burn is pretty rough, but yeah, for a what was it, a 73 dungeon, right?
Yeah.
Is that what that was? Yeah, it was. I mean, for like a veteran healer, for somebody who's going to go in and know how to heal, it's going to be whatever, right? Like every dungeon's going to be whatever, but there was significantly more to heal, and that's definitely for sure.
I don't know if you guys remember, but that dungeon I was watching kind of reminded me of Samal a little bit, because Samal it wasn't exactly hard to heal, but the damage output was definitely a bump up from what we were used to. Like the last boss was pretty crazy in damage, like the AoEs and all that.
Even Samal hard mode, like thinking back to the hard, I think that was the first hard mode where I think a tank buster actually was a tank buster. I remember the last boss like chunking tanks. They were like, yeah, whatever. And they just get wrecked like when the ads came out. So but that's just for like your average player. Like it's just,
yeah.
But I think the game is going to move in that direction. I think Yoshida's intent is pretty clear. We just there's nothing to base anything off of yet. All right, so you asked the question, Sly. Are healers doomed? But I think people want us to have our guests talk more specifically about the different healers. I know Tate and I had a very brief conversation over Discord about Astro in particular. Momo had some very exact words to share in regards to the 3 healers when he made a YouTube video breaking down healer changes. So, Momo, what was the quote again?
Listen, I take it back.
Okay. No. I want to know this quote. I want to know this quote. Like, what was the quote?
See, I mean, it's the quote is still true in a sense. It's just, so I said that. Let me just go back and find it, to be honest, so I can get the exact words.
I tried finding it and I couldn't. Is it in like the description of the YouTube
video? Yeah,
it's
the
posted?
Description.
Oh, okay. I know what the gist of it was. I repeated it to you earlier.
Oh yeah, I said Scholar is bonkers, White Mage is really strong, and Astro is none of the healers are bad. That's what I said. But
and you changed your mind?
No, not necessarily. I mean, when I said that, I was talking in terms of like healing, but not like just overall.
Yeah.
Because if we were to do it overall, I'd probably say like Scholar's really good, White Mage is bonkers, and Astro's, because obviously, spreadsheets and simulations should be taken with a grain of salt, but because it's like healer stuff, because it's healer stuff, and we know that healers are just going to be one button, one dot, and then whatever special. So like Broil, Biolysis for Scholar. There's no Energy Drain, there's no Shadow, there's nothing anymore, right? Astro is the same. There's only Malefic. There's Earthly Star though, but there's Malefic, Combust, Earthly Star, and then White Mage actually has the most complex DPS kit with Presence of Mind, the Size, Glare, and its dot. And like,
yeah,
don't like go to like don't like look at spreadsheets and simulations and be like, okay, this is potencies change, shit changes. We don't know how they're going to interact in fights. White Mage in terms of like DPS output is just, it's dominating by a lot. Like we're talking a lot. And that's not even accounting for like downtime where you can prep Misery either. So it's definitely an interesting situation that we're seeing here.
It's funny when you mention not looking at stuff like simulations and stuff, not paying it too much mind yet, because right before the stream started, I had gone on Twitter and I found this tweet from our good old buddy Svia, who it's stop comparing 5.0 jobs with your incomplete vacuum math.
Yeah.
Made
like there
sure
was a tank question being spread around or something.
I'm pretty sure. Okay, I'm pretty sure everybody who was at the media tour put "this is not final" on everything that they put out, video wise or like print wise. Why don't people see that?
Because it's more fun to pay attention to what we have and speculate off that. Because if we speculate off of what's not final, then there's not much speculation you can do, right? You can't go through the fun stuff of like a lot of people really like going through and going through the math and really theory crafting out depending on what we have. But if you just keep in mind, oh, this is all going to change, then what's the point, really? You might as well have something to do for the next month.
I don't think theory crafting is bad. I just think posting inaccurate numbers can be pretty
misleading.
I was gonna say devastating, but I don't think that's the word. Maybe misleading is a better word for it. Yeah.
I think a big thing also with the whole not really caring about subject to change is because as someone who attended the Stormblood Media Tour, I can tell you that other than a few tooltips being fixed, they really didn't change that much. Because it's only about 2 months' time between the build we play on, which was April 30th, and what actually goes live, which is June 28th. So there's not really so much that can change. We mostly see changes in the first 2 to 4 weeks. So I think it is reasonable to look at those. Like those are probably going to be pretty close to what it actually is in the end. White Mage got like a few changes after the Stormblood Media Tour, but it still wasn't. I didn't get anything substantial until later down the line. But I see a lot of people posting calculations and things. But in regards to healers, I think it is a lot of people just looking at their DPS capabilities and then not considering fight design, because what can we really base it on? Even ultimate, like Momo, you've healed. What have you healed, Momo? Give everyone your rap sheet, because we know Tate's healed. Oh, you've healed 09 through 12. Have you healed anything else, Tate? Like, did you do ultimate? Did you do?
I did Sigmascape and Alphascape. I haven't done ultimates though.
Okay. Why don't you give the viewers your rap sheet then, Momo?
I haven't really healed too much. I've only healed all of Storm, including like ultimates, and I've only done like A8, most of A8.
A8's pretty rough.
A8, dude. Dude, I wish they would make a fight like A8, like healing intensive like that. It's my baby. It's my child. I miss that.
only all of the last 2 years though, right? Nothing. So nothing.
Yeah. Like I started healing like in Deltascape, so I didn't really do too much like Alexander or anything like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I have done both ultimates.
And how much of your GCDs would you say are healing on average?
GCDs?
Specifically your GCDs. Not your own GCDs, just your GCDs.
In Savage, literally 1%, probably, even in 012. I'm not even joking.
I know, I probably think you are.
150 to 200 maybe GCDs in terms of like, Broil by like all my GCD, like damage GCDs. And I think I do like 6 or 7 GCDs total.
You could bring that number down, I guarantee it.
It's probably like 1% or something. I'm not really sure the actual percent, but it's less than 5. I know that for sure.
Does it go up if you're a shield healer? Does that increase? Okay. And so 6 and 7 is like the high point.
Probably, yeah.
You played Scholar mostly, right, Momo?
Yeah, I play the other healers, but I
mean when you talk about that though, because I played White Mage for Alphascape and just nothing, just no GCD heals like ever.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Like the high end too. Like that's casuals. They do probably like 20 to 30 maybe, like through the whole fight. But like that's final Omega. God Kefka, I think I did like 20 to 30. GCD
He's an asshole.
Yeah, like God Kefka. I think God Kefka is probably one of the best healing fights we've got this expansion.
What about ultimates?
I don't know. I think ultimates is like I could go into like ultimates for a bit, but there's some parts of ultimates that are pretty boring to heal, I think, in my opinion at least. Like from just from like progging standpoint and optimization standpoint, I've had to do both. And like Twintanya, right? When you're progging, you're probably only using, as a scholar, probably only 3 to 5 GCDs. you add low both busters, and then you do suckers for the fireballs. That's about it.
Dude, 3 to 5 is almost as much as a whole Savage fight, and that's
no. But like optimization, you do like 0 GCDs.
Oh,
so like it's like you can get through twin and nail with 0 GCDs, aside from like healing during downtime. But like it's like even in ultimate, right? It's like how many GCDs do you drop? Like probably like 200 something, 200, 300 something, maybe. I don't know. But in UCOB at least I only did like 20 to 30 GCD heals, and a lot of those were during downtime. So but that's huge, right? Healing during downtime is really, really huge.
Well, yeah, because then there's nothing else to spend the GCD on. So it's like it's not competing for anything else.
Yeah, if we were talking about straight up time, I'm not really sure. I mean, probably not that many. Like it's not. It's
okay. So in other words, right now, healing on your global cooldown is a myth, is what I'm understanding. If you're at the top level. Should be clear about that.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Like average mid-core groups probably. It's a team effort, right? Healing's a team effort. It always has been.
Yes. I remember Tate, I was watching you heal through Alphascape, and so often you'd comment like, I don't even know how many. I just kept pressing heals. I don't know what I don't know what to say.
I'm trying to think of I know 012 was terrible because our prog strat for Hello World was absolutely garbage. And healing that, I literally couldn't do it on Astro. I had to swap off Astro because they didn't have a size, basically, because I had to throw out like 800 potency, like 2 heals within 0.5 seconds. It was awful. I never want to go back to that. But since we changed our strat, it was a lot better.
It was very entertaining, though, because you were freaking out.
I hated it. I could not stand it.
It's funny because you tell most healers that you went off Astro to go to White Mage on 012.
It was literally just because of our Hello World 2 strat. That's it. Or Hello World 1 strat, even. Both of them. We just had one. We just had the 2 stacks, both take both explosions. So it was like... It was impossible, dude. It was so bad. And Astro just couldn't heal that much without, like, I would have to... The only way to do it on Astro was to Helios Lightspeed Helios. And even then, sometimes it would be too late. It was bad.
Yeah, I didn't heal it, so I'm just going to take everything both of you say, because I have no input. I Scholar healed 09 in a pug, and the Astro didn't res, and the Red Mage didn't res, so I had to do all of them, and I was the only one healing the tank. It was bad, all right? It was real bad. I can promise you that. So, with that, I think the point is that this is probably the greatest degree of concern people have, is because you basically just said less than 10 GCD heals. And pretty much everything the healers got that's new is, even if not on the GCD, is pretty much a heal. So when people compare Stormblood experience, and even before that, to their experience where what's been revealed with the healers, that's where it seems like most of the concern has actually been raised. I guess it's not even a question of do you think they'll deliver on it. Do you think it's even possible with the way this game works to bring the amount of healing globals that you require up a reasonable amount to the point where you actually are like using them a lot, and all of these like additions to healing are actually warranted? Do you think it's even possible with the way our game is designed to do that?
I do.
Yes. Yes and no. Sorry, so go ahead.
I just want to reference the dungeon we got to play during the media tour. And one thing was, I think it was the first boss, the one with all the knockups.
Yeah.
So every time he made more puddles, there was AoE damage. Like, mind you, it was very little AoE damage. But if that was ramped up, we would have had to heal a crap ton more. And maybe in raids, that'll be sort of a thing where there's just a lot more passive AoE damages going out, even if it's not like a huge casted party buster. You know what I mean? So that could be a thing.
I also think to the second boss, he does Timber twice in a row, then binds everybody, then does Timber 2 more times. And that's like 20,000 party-wide damage, I think, each time. And then the last boss does like 3 AoEs, and they all have bleeds tied to them, back-to-back kind of
thing. Do about 30-40% of your HP each one, yeah.
Yeah. So
or a DPS at least.
That's just a dungeon. So... But it's still questionable because you can still heal those all with OGCDs because they're dungeon related. So Momo, you said yes and no. You didn't into regards of making that possible. Why yes and no?
So I've actually kind of talked about so what I mean by yes and no is I think it's possible, but I don't think they're going to do it in a sense, right? Because what I mean by they're not going to do it in the sense that I think they're going to increase healing, but I don't think they're going to increase healing so much that... Because if they increase it too much, right, I think they're going to, do you think they would alienate their player base by doing that?
It's my number one concern.
Yeah, that's my... I think Savage is going to be the same difficulty healing as Stormblood, just kind of ramped up to our Shadowbringers toolkit, right? But I would hope Ultimate would be different in the sense that they would kind of go further beyond, because I've had ideas, right? They're think of Annihilation, right? What you remember Annihilation from Udo?
I sure do.
You remember how the healer has to kind of split off from the part, or one of them
for the tether, and the fire. Yeah,
they could have made a mechanic where that was kind of forced, and you had 3 mini tank purges up back to back to back while everything was going on. So you had the healer that got stuck in the party had to keep healing the party, while the one in the back just had to keep healing themselves. It would have been a little nice HPS check, but in current Annihilation, it's you kind of just fuck off, do your own thing for 30 or something seconds and wait for the tank purge and make sure you're topped off for that and keep the tanks alive.
Yep.
So it's definitely possible for them to do it. The frictions in Garuda are a perfect example. Garuda in general is perfect for healing, at least with our Stormblood toolkit, because the damage in that phase is just so insane. You have the 2 tank busters. You have the tank buster at the start, and then you have the tank buster with the wind cyclone, whatever thing, and then you have the down burst.
Yeah.
And then right after that, you have back to back AoE damage. You have the shriek, then you have the 2 frictions, you have the 2 cyclones, then you have the cyclone from the tank. Then right after that, you have the aerial blast, which is her ultimate. And then you have another double tank buster with 2 line AoEs that the tanks have to mitigate. And then right after that, you have 2 super cyclones, or 1 big super cyclone, 1 small one, and a tank. And so it's pretty... I like to think that's that's my favorite, one of my favorite healing parts in the whole expansion, just because it makes you use your toolkit. And if you don't use your toolkit, you're just going to be spamming G's to heal. So it's you use your toolkit and you get more DPS. But if you don't, you can still clear it. It's just that you're going to leave Garuda at 1500 DPS instead of 3000 or something. Yeah. So it's I think I love that fight. I love that fight.
I can tell. You're still using push to talk, right, Momo?
Yeah, sorry. Is it cutting out?
Yeah, it cuts out half a second early. So you'd be I love that fight.
I might just be releasing it too early, my bad.
I do that all the time too when I listen back to Discord. Because you do it after you're done speaking, but it for some reason there's a half a second latency on your words getting through the program. So it's
not on releasing push to talk.
But not on releasing push to talk. There's no latency adjustment. So yeah, I'm definitely used to that. Yeah, just letting you know because people in the chat were asking. So
I took off push to talk.
Okie dokie. Now you just have to hope it doesn't do the other problem that did the FS last week. All right, Sly, how you doing?
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm okay because I'm not healing fucking raid.
Is that why you're?
I'll do this just to level and do dungeons and everything. I'm never. You couldn't pay me enough money in the fucking world to heal red. Sorry.
We can test that. Chat. We can test that. You got 24 days to kill still, Sly. I am sure we could arrange something on Primal.
Your ultimate Slyh?
Okay, I was gonna throw him into 09 first.
No.
Trial by fire.
Momo just wants to fucking throw me under the fucking bus, dude. Jesus. I mean, they're all 70. Yay, I just gotta get them geared, and I'm sure, why not? Fuck.
All right.
Okay. The harder the content is, the faster you'll learn, man. That's just.
However, I want it to be 09, but the other healer does not cast a heal. They're there in case you screw up, but that's it. It's all on you. Having never done it before. I would not make him do 010 though. Because Tank's gonna fucking Midgard Stormer's gonna hit someone and it's gonna be like, nope. I don't know what to do. He's dead. That's all it is. Okay, so it could be possible, but you don't think they'll do it. Do you think they'll do it, Tate? Do you think they will actually follow through with this whole I'll give you the exact quote. Where's my journal? The exact quote I was given in regards to how they feel about healers currently is...
Because that's a question you asked in your interview, right? About the damage?
Yes. I said that I had noticed that A, they were calling them pure healers, and B, that the dungeon's damage output seemed higher. And he said, I was surprised you noticed so quickly. They said they don't want to scare people, like they didn't want it to seem like they were going to just destroy everyone, but we do feel healers are lukewarm right now and they aren't encouraged to heal much. We don't want them to not deal damage. However, we want healers to be actual healers.
So he wants them to be boring.
He wants you.
That's not what
he doesn't want you to sit around, do nothing, and wait for something to happen. He just wants your decision making to lean towards what your role demands and not towards what the game demands.
Okay, put it like this: if I was in a dungeon and I was fucking healing, and somebody told me to just fucking heal, I would be passive aggressive and just heal and do nothing else and watch Netflix. Like that. Just
that just goes back to the healing applying to a different demographic now, right? Like that just means healing's not for you. But for the people who are interested in something like that, I really do hope they ramp up the damage. I do hope there's more damage going out. Because, like, again, in those dungeons, you experienced it firsthand, Happy, where Mary tried to pull 2 mobs, and it didn't work out too great.
Clear, 2 not packs. Just 2 mobs.
No. 2 packs of mobs. I was there too, and he went down. It didn't go too well, but. It's also hard to imagine how they're going to do that with how we've played the game, how it is for the last 6 years, 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we're so stuck with how we've been playing the game because that's just how it is. And with the people who are upset about the healer changes, I think their complaints are valid because I think healing in this game, Final Fantasy XIV, as compared to any other game, it's definitely something special. It's hard to compare to any other game when it comes to healing, which is I think what drew so many people into it to begin with. But I am also just excited to see how they make it more healer intensive, and I really hope they go a good direction with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they can though. I don't want to give like a definitive they could totally do it this way or that way because I'm not. Design doesn't go through my brain like that. It's beyond me, but I definitely hope they can.
I think most of the people that are complaining about the healer changes are more so scholars rather than white mage and Asher, just because they're losing their offensive toolkit. Like scholar, that's
a dangerous topic, man.
Am I sad that scholar basically has nothing to fall back on? Yeah, I mean, it sucks that no Shadowflare. Actually, fuck Shadowflare.
Shadowflare's not really that fun. Well, new Shadowflare is an old Shadowflare where you could replace it over and over again. Was
speaking of DPS toolkit, because the healing toolkit on Scholar is insane. It's insane. But like the DPS toolkit, right? You're losing energy drain, right? You're losing miasma using one of your dots. And then you're losing Shadowflare. I think that's it.
And Bane.
That's it. And Bane. Well, I guess Bane. Never really used it too much, but it did have a niche.
In dungeons, at least,
Yeah. So And it's replaced by Audivore, which is just a spammable Miasma 2 with no dot. So it's kind of, I don't want to say boring because it's basically like Miasma 2, but okay, it's boring. Sorry.
If you wanted to say, because it was the first word that came to mind, that's how you really felt.
I don't think they should have lost Energy Drain. I think that was the worst decision they ever made, because now you have every 60 seconds, you have 3 free overpowered healing tools. And now that Soil gives a regen that is actually stronger than Indom if you get all the ticks, plus mitigate, damage at the same time, the whole duration of Soil. It's like, what were they thinking, right? Because you get 1 Excog when Indom, one Soil like every 60 seconds, or you can get 2 Indoms if you use it on CD. And you combine that with Whispering Dawn, Seraph, all these new tools. It's
Not to mention, you can choose to remove the ether flow cost of an Indom and make it crit. If you don't want to use it on the changed crit low or any of the other 3 abilities.
It's like people in chat saying Scholar got nerfed, but in reality, it got buffed, right? Healing wise, it got buffed, and it's not just like they got buffed. They got buffed, right? It got it got mega buffed. So it's still the king of off GCDs. Fey Blessing, I think, needs to be buffed a little bit, and Constellation needs to be buffed because right now, at least assuming in an optimization scenario, you're never going to use Constellation because it's like we figured out that the fairy pet scaling is about the same as it is today. Watching your video, actually, so the pet scaling is a little. I don't know how to say this. It's a little low because Constellation is 220 some potency total instead of 300, right? That's how big pet scaling is. And having that taken off GCD spot when you have Indom, Soul, and all these other overpowered tools, either something needs to be brought down or something needs to be brought up, because those aren't going to be used unless you absolutely need to use them.
Do you think Consolidation has any sort of merit in the fact that it is a shield that does not intervene with Galvanize, Catalyze, or Nocturnal?
That's the thing I was going to mention. That's the only merit to it right now, is that it stacks shields. Aside from that, it's just there. So the healing has to require that niche situation, I guess.
Yeah.
Because weaving is really bad on Scholar right now. It's not bad, but it really screws them in terms of DPS. And speaking from optimization, obviously, casuals don't really care about that. That's fine. But speaking from optimization sense, wasting a GCD slot or off GCD slot for a 100 70 something potency move, because that's what Fey Blessing is at when you take pet scaling into account, it's really, really weak. So it needs to definitely get buffed, or something needs to get nerfed. Soil needs to get nerfed. Soil is, I don't know if you saw CU. Happy Tate.
I remember seeing Sacred Soil get the regen, and I was like, what?
Yeah, that's pretty nutty.
I was like, oh, Asylum, that must mean Asylum, because I saw Scholar first. I was like, oh, it must mean Asylum's going to get the barrier on it. And then it was increases healing received. And I'm like...
Which is good, but Sacred Soil is so good.
Yeah, in CU too, is it said, the tooltip said it was 50 potency per tick. And I want to think that was wrong. I want to think that they're going to fix that. But... because it really makes no sense. Why would CU be 50 potency, but you give Scholar a tool that's literally CU, but better
in every way?
Yeah, because Soil also mitigates, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you take CU's CD, combines the Soil is 1800 potency plus whatever extra ticks you get, plus 45 seconds of mitigation as long as you're standing inside of it, versus CU, which is 250 potency every 90 seconds, plus the 5 seconds of mitigation you get, assuming you don't hold it. So it's it's big think.
CU's, I guess, only merit is you leave with the like you don't have to stay in it to get the regen, so you could theoretically like grant it and then just you'll have it, I'd imagine.
I think Astrologian's healing potencies in general look really, really low this time around. Like just a couple of their abilities are just a little abysmal.
It reminds me of their Heavensward potencies. When they first released, they were like, God, what is Benefic 2 now? Isn't it the same as Cure 2? I think it was like 100 or 150 less when they first released. They're like, yeah, they've got cards. They can just, who cares? Just hit their potencies. They'll be all right.
I feel like at the beginning of every expansion, Astrologian just gets shit on. Like every
Scholar
expansion.
last expansion got railed.
I mean, I'm not saying Scholar doesn't, but Astrologian definitely gets a pretty short stick every time. And then like within like a month, we get the normal raid patch balance, or the normal raid balance patch, and then the Savage raid balance patch, and it always gets a little bit fixed. So I say it every time I talk about Astrologian is the new Celestial Opposition potencies are really for a 2-minute is rough.
I want the stun back. I know it doesn't matter for dungeons, but I want that stun back.
Yeah,
it only matters there.
Yeah.
Sly, have you even leveled your Astro? Did you level all your healers?
Yeah, all my healers are leveled.
Okay, good. I was just making sure. I didn't watch you do it.
Why do you think I gave a damn about the cards?
Because you get them as a Dragoon. That's a pretty good reason to give a damn about the cards.
The other cards.
There are no other cards.
Yeah, you're right.
See, this is
there just are.
Really?
There just are no other cards. Now, really, the case is there are no other cards. There's 3 cards. There's four cards you want and 4 cards you don't want as a melee now. That's it. It's the truth. That's I'm getting a lot of questions about healer related stuff in the chat that I'm sure you both would like to poke your brains at. One is we're talking about how many healing globals you have to spend, but we're not really talking about mana or MP at all. And people have been breaking down footage a lot in regards to MP regeneration and availability without taking piety into account yet. And it's looking interesting to say the least. Because White Mage literally can never run out of mana. And Astro and Scholar are like, this Lucid is not good enough. And Scholar's like, energy drain just for MP would be great right about. I would be okay with that.
I remember going on a trash pull with Astrologian, spamming gravity, of course, but between heals and that, that's all I got for you. That's the only input I've got. I went one time.
I'm not sure about Astra, but Aisa was doing work on Scholar, and Scholar MP should be fine in like a boss scenario. Not really sure how it's going to work in like a dungeon. Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to work, but technically the MP cost now is actually, or the MP is actually better in Shadowbringers than it is now than like an actual raid scenario. As long as you're not spamming GSD heals, I guess. Lucid being on 60-second CD is like the only thing keeping it there. Like that's like the most important part.
Well, the thing is, I'm seeing people say that I've seen a bunch of different analysis of MP regeneration coming out of Lucid, and I've seen some people saying that Lucid is pretty poop in terms of its actual like effective MP regeneration. Like, yeah, I've seen some people say it's like sub 2k MP from its current, from what it was actually ticking for in the Mediator footage, not accounting for piety. So it's like net gain, I guess, from just the button press.
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I really haven't really looked into MP too much because
79 per tick.
Yeah,
that's not a lot.
I guess people were taking today's values instead of before values or something. But yeah, like if Lucid is really that low, then
full piety prog?
Maybe, yeah.
I'm beginning to think that healers are going to be full piety in Prague, because I don't think
they probably
healers
just want to make it important.
Yeah, I mean, healers don't want to ever sit around having to be like, well, can't cast the GCD because I'm so I better make sure I can serve MP here. They don't want to do that anymore. Like maybe 15, 20 years ago, people wanted to do that, or this September or August, this August. Also, they will be doing that. I can promise you that, but not in Final Fantasy 14. People don't want to do that, so. I'm thinking piety is going to be very, very important, especially if people actually want to raise more than a couple times a fight. Because that's where the big discussion comes in, is if MP's this tight as it is, then raising might be percentage-wise less expensive, because I think it's like 24% of your max MP now, whereas it's 25% or something on live. But the regeneration is a good bit lower.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one of the reasons, because if piety really is like, or if this is like, it's pretty huge. If Astro and Scholar do have MP problems, that just is going to bump White Mage up to a whole nother level as well. And I don't really think that's good in terms of balance, because, you know, it's really not that fair. Because imagine a scenario where or White Mage can actually just piety melds, full crit melds, full direct hit melds, for or full det melds, you know, or Scholar White or Scholar and Astro, they get the meld full piety. That's just gonna unbalance them even more. So I think if Lucid is really this week, they're gonna have to find a fix to it.
Dude, my fix is give White Mage mana shift, and that's their thing. They can give mana to the other healers.
That would be actually interesting, not gonna lie. But
they'd
probably require
mandatory. Yeah, they'd become mandatory in every fucking raid. Is the problem. Because really, I don't know what they're thinking with White Mage in regards to its MP compared to the other two. You can't. How do you run out of MP as a White Mage? I actually don't know how you manage to do it. I went back and watched my dungeon footage. And I'm like, okay, well, if I'm spamming holies and, you know, odds are I'll see my MP. Nope, I don't think I went below 8.6k the whole fucking dungeon.
Jeez.
Because holies 200 MP less than Art of War in the build we played. 600 versus 800. It's not instant cast, and it's 10 potency less. Makes sense. Trust me. Thin Air exists. Lucid 60 seconds. Asai still gives MP, and Lily abilities are an on GCD heal that replace the need to use mana. Plus your Blood Lily, which is the same thing, an on GCD DPS that replaces your ability. You know, you just. Meanwhile, in the Legion of Doom, that is the other two healers, according to most posts.
They're just plotting against White Mage now.
Yeah, pretty much. Everyone's just because everyone knows the other two healers are gonna get like probably something. Like even after a live and people say, "Oh, it's fine, you can work around it," they'll probably get something if people are loud enough. People are ready to be loud, even if it's like okay-ish, like they were with White. Like White Mage was okay at the start of Stormblood. Like lilies weren't interesting, but people are still like, I can still do work. Cure 3 is still dope as fuck. I think I can manage this. They made some changes to Confessions and Divine Benison, and that was the end of it.
Yep.
But then when you look at Astros and Scholars, there's a lot of talk.
A lot of it's doom and gloom. Scholar by itself is fine. It's just it really needs energy drain back. Without energy drain, like I said, the healing potential in Scholar is it's too good without some kind of setback on their Aether Flow. Like beforehand, right, it was like a decision, right? Oh, I can heal here, but it costs me, DPS. Now you don't have that. The only DPS you're losing is the weave, right? The runes you're using to weave. So now it's like might as well just become the main healer. You solo heal the fight.
I think that's what really sold Scholar for a lot of people too, was that it was like, as it stands right now, I think Scholar is the most complex healer because half of its identity is in its DPS. And I think out of all the healers that got changed, like regardless as to if they got good heals or not, I think Scholar was the one that got really the most culled out of them just because it lost literally half of its identity. and lost one of the things that made so many people like Scholar, which was the decision making between energy draining or using it on a heal or something like that. And now it just feels like Scholar won't require that much thought anymore compared to that. So that's pretty rough.
Sly, I'm going to take this into a more casual approach because you only leveled the healers. And one thing I think that because a lot of us speak from like a very high level understanding, we kind of have to come back down to earth and remember the majority of people don't give a shit about half the things that we're saying may or may not be problems with these jobs. We really kind of need to take a step back and focus on, is it fun to play in the majority of content? I'd say that's the single most important factor. So, Sly, you leveled them, and I think leveling is something that heavily needs to be considered if people actually end up playing a job at max level. Which of the 3 healers did you think in Stormblood was the most fun to level?
White Mage.
Okay, I agree with that, and I think it'll be true in Shadowbringers as well. What was the least fun one to level? This is tough, because I can understand why you might dislike Astro or Scholar.
I don't dislike either. They were fun both were fun to level. It was just White Mage was the most fun. This doesn't like say anything bad about either one, but if I had to choose, it's tough. I guess I would say Scholar, but only slightly under Astro.
I agree with a lot of that in terms of leveling.
Slightly, because, well, for me personally, like, I like the cards. I did like the cards. They served the purpose. It was fun. Like, here's this card where I don't have to heal the tank for like 15 seconds or so. Here's this card where I get more MP. Please bring that back. Please. Please give the Astros the era back. At least.
They have it still. Just does something completely different.
Yeah.
Sly likes cards because he likes Persona.
I actually agree with that. I think White Mage was the most fun to level as well. Actually, funny enough, I like Scholar the most in raids, but I think it is the least fun to level because that's really all it is dungeon leveling, right?
Yeah. No, you can go do Heaven on High, sure.
Yeah, okay.
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 All right. So you mean don't heal at all? That's what you're saying? Yeah.
Dude, I get really surprised when people die in Heaven on High pugs because I'm like, wait, but huh?
Huh?
What did you just do?
I'm not supposed to heal you. I'm not supposed to heal you. What the fuck is this shit? Yeah. Yeah, it's just I don't know, to me, I just like Astro slightly better just because the cards and the utility from the cards and everything that brought, not saying that Scholar didn't have any utility, it definitely did. But in terms of sheer fun factor, slightly above Scholar.
So that's how it was in Stormblood. Come Shadowbringers, everyone's going to be focused on leveling 70 to 80, obviously. And again, It still plays a factor. Luckily with Scholar, if you do enjoy Scholar at least, I know I'm opting to level Summoner because they're not separate. They may be nothing alike, but they're still connected at the hip by Arcanist. So I at least have an alternative to Scholar. But Astro and White Mage, White Mage I think will be fun. Astro I actually still think will be fun. We'll talk about Astro specifically in a second, but I think that was the thing that Scholar lost the most was it's fun to play in just not content that's like not at the top of the level. I think that was the biggest thing I feel Scholar lost is being fun in content that isn't raids. That's, I guess, my biggest concern. I want Scholar to get something back, man. I don't know what of the things you name Momo, but I want them to get something back. Energy drain, I guess, is a big one.
That's the only thing it needs. Like,
yeah, I agree.
It's, I think it actually is the lowest DPS healer now in terms of everything too. Just because if they have to heal, they're losing DPS. Whereas unless an Astro has to GCD heal, they're not losing anything. It's like they get, they're free. ED off GCD, it's free because they're Malefic, right? It's only 1.5 seconds. So like if a Scholar is forced to heal, then they are technically losing the most DPS.
They also don't have anything cool like a Size or Earthly Star, these OGCD skills that serve dual function. in a sense, or in a Size's case, like 8 functions, because that skill is fucking stupid and always has been, and I love it.
I love it.
I love
also, don't quote me on that. I don't want people going, Momo says Sky's the lowest DPS healer. I don't want people doing that. It's just
the balance Discord's already on fire.
guys, just remember, important note at the top of the screen for everyone watching, important note, just remember that job effectiveness will vary depending on player skill. Okay? So important.
I wanted, if I was to leak anything from the media tour, it would have been that slide.
Like a day in advance. It would have only been like a day in advance.
Just in case they didn't show it in the live letter.
Just remember, when you're listening to everything we're saying, that at the top is the most. They should put that on the login screen. When you're picking a class at the beginning of the game, it should be like, this is what this class does. But by the way, like, effectiveness will vary. There you go.
You're good.
All right. So specifically, since Scholar and Astro are kind of the meat of the top, because I think everyone agrees White Mages, they may see something, but they're fine. It's fine. Everyone's gonna probably still enjoy them, and they lost Arrow 3. Boo fucking who. And the knockback on Fluid Aura, but it binds.
No, it's not fair.
It still binds. Dude, remember when Fluid Aura did damage?
Oh, yeah.
That was a sad day when they lost Fluid Aura damage. That was a sad day when White Mage lost damage on Fluid Aura way back when. But when it comes to Astro in particular, it's been kind of the weirdest to talk about in regards to healers, because people are not complaining about its healing or its DPS. They kind of just lug it in with those other two conversations. They're talking about the fucking cards.
Mm-hmm.
And this is luckily a discussion that doesn't necessarily require you needing to be a healer to chime in. You just need to have at least drawn cards as an Astro. Sly and I talked a little bit about it last week. Gentlemen, I believe you two have... I know, Tate, you and I had some discussions about some stuff. And Momo, I don't know how you feel about the cards based on... I didn't actually get to watch the video. I only saw the tagline of Scholars are bonkers, White Mages are great, and Astros are good. I don't know what brought it down to good for you in that initial statement. Was it the cards?
No, it was... like, that was the first impressions, right? Like, I think it's one of the main things to take away. That was first impressions.
Yeah.
That was just, like, face value. One of the things that was... One of the important things is that Astro's toolkit is like it's 70 to 80 toolkit is very GCD dependent. Like horoscope requires a GCD to use. Neutral sect only works on GCDs, which is like, it's good in like a prog / casual / whatever environment. When we talk about like optimization, that's when it starts to lose value. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like if you let's say you needed it and you were gonna have to friggin' shield an attack. Because that's the thing, when you enter neutral sect, even if you're Astro Scholar at this point, Astro takes shielding priority unless you're deploying an Adlo, I'd assume, with neutral, since it has an innate 20% healing on it outside of crit variants. I'd imagine it would just override any sucker. So they'd be in charge of shielding. But how many times do you need to shield in the duration of neutral sect? Odds are once.
That's another thing. Like, we don't know if...
We don't know.
Like a celestial intersection, right? We don't know if that shield stacks with a Scholar shield. So, 2 out of the 3 new Astro abilities could just not synergize with Scholar at all.
Right.
Which is also a pretty big concern, but guess we'll find out, right?
We will.
All right.
So continuing with Astro.
I like the new cards.
Sly's upset with you because he got into it last week. He really doesn't like it.
I said it. I can't stand the RNG. That's like the one thing that always kept me off of Astro is I cannot stand RNG. Even on Scholar with crit low RNG, it's always frustrating, but like I can't. It's just you can when you go a whole raid night not drawing balance. you get the flack for that from 7 other people, right? It's like it's not the RNG's fault. It's like I don't know.
No, it is the RNG's fault.
It is the RNG's fault, but not to 7 other people, right? I don't know. It's obviously just the people I run with, but with that said, it's just it's not that I dislike the old cards so much, it's that I like the new cards, and I like the new seal system, and I like divination, even though I think it needs a buff. But I like how active and micromanagey it is now compared to just get this card Royal Road, get this card spread. Like it feels more interesting and active to me now.
That's my opinion on it too. It's just my opinion though. I got flame forward in the balance Discord before. I think because when you're speed killing or something, right? You're trying to get as many balances as possible. And sometimes you'll throw a spear out. Generally, never you're going to throw an arrow out. But like, I don't know. I feel like it's more engaging, at least with my brain, the way my brain works. I feel like it's going to be more engaging than like, okay, you pull a card, what is it, and who does it go on, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Who does the most damage at this point? And then you're going to be like, okay, do I have to redraw because I need a different seal, right? Do I need a different seal? So you have to check your divination, whatever gauge. And then I like with minor arcana now. It's like, oh cool, I've got all these seals, but divination's on cooldown. I can start minor arcanaing them, and it still makes every card feel useful. And I do miss old lady and lords, but I do like how you buff your cards now. I just think it's overall a very interesting system, and it's just really, really engaging.
Sly, last week you were also the dark horse of this conversation,
and I will.
No. I know. You've had a week, you still miss the old cards.
Kinda. I've learned to ignore balanced numbers on parses.
Listen, I will never ignore balanced numbers.
But that's like the whole point, though.
I won't always have it.
That's the whole point. But will you always have an Astro?
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I ignore it, because it's just, oh, you're gonna get more damage if you bring this one job. So like, I mean, fine, good. Pray that you get the cards, but I'm ignoring the numbers because, like, what if you didn't have Astro, and what if you didn't get?
But what if you do have Astro?
But what if you do?
What if you do? Yeah, those numbers, like, I feel like it's I hate to call it inflation, but inflation. Sure.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
That's the whole, it's like the whole point of it.
And see, that's what I hate. Like, when people say there's only one card, like, seriously?
No, that's wrong.
Like, it doesn't have any.
That's fucked up. You have one card and you have 5 cards to make that one card better. That's not fair
people
to
like
the other
happy.
5 cards.
People like happy.
That's not fair.
So like that opinion, it's not fair. It's not fair because I feel like all these cards except for 2, like, seriously, don't give me a fucking arrow, don't give me a fucking spire. Like, I don't care. Every other card.
Hey man, fine. Don't talk shit about arrow. It's goodwill balance.
Happy, do you want an arrow?
No. Exactly. I really don't want an arrow. I really, really don't.
Nobody wants it, but it's cheap, right? It still helps.
In dungeons where I don't really have to give a shit, throw me an arrow so I can fucking meme lord my way through my A.
And Ray, don't give that shit to me. Like, yeah, like,
when I clip my demolish by 5 seconds because I'm fucking GL3'd without ROF and you gave me an enhanced arrow, yeah, we're gonna have a fucking problem. Okay.
What I'm saying is that the cards just served a purpose, and not your fucking purpose. They served a purpose. It was a pretty decent purpose. The execution could have went a little bit better. The RNG, excuse me. I mean, it's an RNG job. Kind of.
Yeah, R&D is the department that made Batman's stuff. It's different altogether.
So people not liking the RNG job. That's another thing, because people are like falling in love with Dancer.
No. I don't know what you're talking about.
Who even talks about that class? Are you sure?
Fucking double standard much?
No, we don't know if you can do that yet. We didn't test it. That was the biggest question that I got. Can you do a double standard?
Nice.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm glad chat likes that joke. I'm glad. All right. You asked for this. You should have heard me early. Before State of the Realm, I had some really mean dancer puns going. I gotta get it ready. I gotta get ready for Shadowbringers with this. Like, if you want to get technical about it, that's gonna be something that gets used a million times. That's gonna be.
We've already got Miztech. Like, you don't need to do this.
That's gonna be when you go into the Duty Finder, you replace all of your normal buttons with these macros, and then you see how long it takes before they kick you.
Sounds like a fun game.
That's it.
How to get reported in 5
Wait till you get to 80, though. Don't do the shit leveling, but wait till you get to 80.
No. Do it while leveling. As soon as you get technicals that make the macro, it's like, if you want to get technical about it.
Do it as a DPS too.
I hope you have high standards. You just make all of these your macros while you're leveling.
All right, we can do that, man.
Listen, I've seen enough Naruto macros to know that people will put up with it for a whole dungeon as much as they hate it. Okay? And there's going to be even more of those now. So I'm going to die inside a little bit. The Dark Knight Living Shadow macros, done. It's done. You're all doomed.
Hell yeah, man. I'm playing Dark Knight too. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Macros. Make sure you make a macro for it. That's it.
Of course.
Sly, his smile and his optimism gone.
Just don't.
I live to do this to Sly, though. That's
every week.
That's my purpose in life and on this show. It's all right. You put up with it. Where were we talking about?
Cards, Astro.
Talking about cards.
Astro.
Yeah, and you were asking about everyone being obsessed about a dancer. Yeah. Yeah.
Double standard.
I guarantee you, if one of my cards did something that if one of my steps did something that wasn't damage, people would be like, "Why the fuck are you doing that?" Like, if standard step was just like, if you do these 2 steps, it's one thing. Like Mudra's these 2 steps, it's a different thing. If I did anything but 5% damage, someone would punch me right in the fucking face. Because that's all that matters. In the end, that's all anyone gives a shit about. It's fun when you do other stuff sometimes.
Not fun. It's situational.
But the problem is Astro has no control of the situation. You can never be like, yeah, we need a bowl here.
But when you get it. But when you fucking get it in that situation.
Aloha, shut up. What are you doing? Stop. All right. So you guys, I'm actually surprised. I thought that, I knew Tate felt that. I'm surprised you're okay with the card system being the way it is. I thought for sure you were going to find the old decision-making process more interesting.
I do. I think it's more interesting for sure. I don't really think anybody can really argue. It's not. I mean, at least from like a, outside of like a speed kill point of view, because like if you pull a bull, like, ooh, in Prague, a bull is like really good, right? Or in like, farm, assuming you're not like going for like super whatever numbers. Like getting a bull is like godsend and like ultimate, right? It's free mitigation.
Yeah.
Losing Uwer sucks because that's actually probably saved a few runs with recovery. And you're not gonna have that anymore.
Can I get just a gif of that and please post it on Twitter? Somebody. I need that. I need that in my life. Yes, I mean, but the more you say out loud, does it make you miss it more when you actually describe situations like that out loud?
Yeah.
For me, it makes me like even more excited for the new changes because it's like that like, yeah, it could save runs or the extra mitigation's great, but that still brings inconsistencies to the raids, right? And that's something I've come to appreciate when it comes to progging is consistent pulls. So it's rough when you bring in an inconsistency like that and it makes your plans go a little haywire, right? But at the same time, like I do agree that, this bowl could have made things easier. This Uwer could have helped with mana issues at this point. But it still brings like, well, if I don't get this other pull, then is that pull screwed? You know what I mean?
As long as it's not Old Spear, which was stupid.
I don't even remember what Old Spear was.
It was the one where if you had it on you and you used an OGCD, it would reduce the cooldown of it.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
So you'll end up with like trick attack being like, so that's the only one I would like is the 48-second trick attack as opposed to the 60-second. But then everyone else is like, my shit's not ready. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Ruins everything. All right. Speaking of inconsistencies, do you think that's why they changed the crit lows? Because crit lows are no longer this I will take 0 damage from the entire attack button because it only spreads the galvanize, it doesn't spread the catalyze, which is what the 100% boosted shield actually is. You still get a fatter shield from a crit low. It's just not the difference between being at 10,000 health at the AoE versus losing 2,000 health total across each person.
When you map out a crit low, you don't actually map out for the crit low. So when you use crit low, like for example, let's say use add low deploy for Blackfire, right? You don't actually map around the crit low. You just if it crits, that's less of something else you have to do. So like that's another resource you can save. So like if we get a crit, I don't have to end on, for example, right? So it saves me MP and also saves me, I guess DPS if you care about that. So I think the reason they nerfed crit low is because of recitation and recitation. Like 90% sure that's the reason. I want to say because that's if you could on demand crit low, like old crit low, like current crit low, I think it would be. You'd probably just always take a scholar because you can ignore mechanics. Literally, like Hello World is a good example, right? You can pretty much ignore all the healing up until critical error or ion of flux. It's ridiculous.
Do you think that makes the new crit low better in a sense? Because now it's on demand but weaker versus you either get it or you don't?
In certain situations, yeah.
I think being able to plan around any sort of pseudo RNG like that is always good.
Yeah, like because technically, add low deploy it's the crit add low is strong, but the add low itself it's stronger now, right? It got buffed to 125%
of the heal.
Yeah. So it's technically like a stronger add low, right? So when you did an add low deploy, you were banking on like a 300 potency heal, right? Yep. Now you're banking on a 375 potency shield. So it's better in that aspect. Like I'm still going to deploy the spots we did old deploys at. It's just going to be more mitigation.
And again, a lot of this seems to come down to, do they actually make it matter?
Yeah, we just won't know.
That's the biggest thing.
We just won't know. All right. So we've taken quite a bit of time to talk about healers. There was MP regen, which was a question the chat had. There was another one that the chat had that I can't remember. Astro cards was a big one. I'm trying to remember if there was another one specifically that the chat had. Divination is definitely something people talked about, that the only decision-making process on Astro is one that has so much leeway it might as well not be a decision at all.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling? How are we feeling about Divination? I see damage. I just don't give a shit. I don't give a shit how it is compared to old balance. I don't give a shit how it is compared to the old. I just look at it as a whole, like in the environment it's going to be used in. How are we feeling about Divination? Just fuck off with the old AoE balance shit. How do we feel about that?
I think for what it is, the percentages are a little low, in my opinion. Like, what is it? It's
6
for 3 seals.
Yeah,
336. Yeah,
336. That's really weird. Like, for one, we don't have a better version for getting 2 different seals.
Yeah,
like it could have been like. It could have been like 246 or something like that. You know what I mean?
Sly's really passionate about. He's like, I gotta say it.
That may be an error.
Maybe a typo. So again, tooltips completely subject to change.
That may be an error. Yeah, that seems weird.
6%.
I think at 3 seals, I think Divination should do a little bit more, because it then becomes, it's not even as good as a lady or lord on a single person, right? Like 8% for a lady or lord versus. And I know they stack, like, and I know it's a party-wide AoE, but for how much prep you have to do for it, it feels like it's a little underpowered.
I say raise all the seals.
You mean the seals or the cards?
The seals, like raise the percentages on the seals.
Oh, you mean straight up like 0 versus 2 versus, or 1 versus 2 versus 3, right?
Yeah. Right. I agree with that too.
Yeah. I think it should either be, with the effect it is now, I think it'd be a lot better if it was a 2-minute CD rather than 3 minutes, because I think one of the biggest issues people have with divination is that, you know, you have so much time to build up to it. Like it's boring in a sense, because like, you know, you have 3 whole minutes, you know, outside of the first use to get like your seals back, right? If it was 2 minutes, you'd have less time to think, right? You'd have to play more efficiently.
Yeah, I'd love that.
I don't know, because it, you know, they do stack, right? It does stack with current cards, but current cards aren't AoE, right? It's only on specific targets.
Yeah, so only like 1, maybe 2 people will have the effect if you have like a sleeve draw or something with it.
I think one of the biggest issues people have is that sleeve draw is also 3 minutes now, which is obviously to pair it up with divination in a sense, but I think it would be a lot more enjoyable to play if both sleeve draw and divination were 2 minutes rather than 3 minutes.
I agree with that.
You can keep the effect of 6% with 3 because it's 2 minutes now instead of 3. But maybe make 3 8% or something. I don't know. Not really sure of like the whole math, because obviously we haven't seen.
If we had 2 minutes, I'd be okay with the percents we have right now. Other than the 0 to 2 seals being the same or whatever, right?
Why even state that they're different? That's why it feels like
exactly.
They very much intend to have them all be different. Almost made me feel the way Bard's new armies pay on passive was it was 1, 2, 4, and then 12% for the new armies muse or armies whatever the fucking buff was called for the new thing. It was like way different. I saw someone in the chat say if they kept it at 3 minutes, make it 369. And unfortunately, all that.
Can you suck it to me one more time?
Yeah. That's I literally first thing. I'm so glad you said it and I didn't have to say it, because I was gonna say damn it's fine if it actually gets to that, but you took it to the next step right away, and I appreciate that. Slyh doesn't seem in any way enthused about what's happening right now.
For divination, I think it's important to know that it's really 6% may seem low right now, but like we don't know how that's going to act in like an environment where it matters, right? So I think it's really important that we see, because it's only 15 seconds, right? That's also very short.
Yes.
Yeah.
And with the 3 minute cooldown, it's a little rough because it's not going to line up with too much. I mean, there are a lot of 3 minute cooldowns, but a lot of them are 2 minutes. So I feel like making it 2 minutes to line up with a lot of the party cooldowns as well would be pretty nifty.
It would be weird, because I think divination would come out. It would be like 10 plus seconds after, you know, litany and voice, right? Because you can't get cards pre-pull, right? You have to. That's another issue people have, is that literally like your first 5 or 6 GCDs is play, shuffle, play, shuffle, play, shuffle, play, shuffle, play, shuffle. Like it's crazy. It's a lot of like going through all those cards. So I think that's a really big issue with Astro too that people have.
Yeah, I was just going to check for divination.
You're not gonna be able to get divination off like at 3 minutes.
Full tips.
Yeah, because I just realized in my head he said it's 15 seconds, and I was like, wait a minute. It doesn't even say on the ability. It wasn't.
I had to look in my video when I used it to see exactly how long it was.
Yeah, I put the link to all the tooltips in chat. So.
Yeah, it doesn't say, but divination is 15 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's why I had to go check, because I actually was like, what? I was actually confused.
Sorry.
No,
there's actually talk about. Sorry.
No,
there's actually talk about if a fight allowed it, you would hold your divination, right? You wouldn't use it in the opener, which was really interesting. And if that
would make getting your seals a lot easier.
Yeah, like if you don't lose the usage of it, you wouldn't do it in the opener, right? Like let's say a fight's 8 minutes long, you know, you're only going to get, you know, your opener 3 minute, 6 minute, right? You're not going to get another usage. So holding it for to your 60-second opener or whatever, or 2-minute opener would be pretty interesting.
Openers and reopeners has been a pretty interesting topic that's, not been too involved with the healers outside of divination. Because Scholar just throws fucking crit thing on whenever they feel like it. And they're like, hi, look, I'm here. But every other jobs, opener and reopeners are looking very... the reopeners are stacked and the initial openers are like, I don't know what the fuck to do. Every job I look at is so confused. It's like, how do I do an opener optimally? I don't even want... I saw some ninja shit, and Tate and I were talking about some ninja shit. And I was like, what happened?
That class is rocket science, and I am so excited for it.
Yeah, like Tate was talking about the greedy opener. You like wait 5 GCDs before you actually like start your real opener, because then you can like Mesui in the opener, and then you can Bunshin with Mug to get an extra Bava with 2 Shadowfangs and 2 Aeolians and a Kasatsu Hyotan. I'm like, don't do that opener ever. Just don't. And then I saw one. We were talking about one where it's legit the old like Doton opener combined with the new one where you fucking Huton and then you Shikuchi Doton and then you're
I'm
able
never
to
doing
Tenchi.
that shit,
then
man.
you can Tenchi
I
Jin
hate that
immediately to
pre-pull
go into
Doton.
the Suiton to then to then trick with the. I was like, what the fuck is even happening? It was so fucking galaxy brain. I couldn't. Meanwhile, Sly's just like, yeah, well, Life and Blood of the Dragon's 30 seconds now, so I'll see in 30 seconds when my jump comes off cooldown.
Yep.
He's like, please wait 30 seconds for your opener, everybody. I would really like to land my Star Diver during Trick Attack. If you don't mind, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I don't know if you guys how much you guys have kept up with that across the various jobs, the openers and the reopeners being like just nutty despite the simplification of the game in the perception. Have you guys kept up with any of the different jobs and their proposed openers?
Just ninja.
Yeah, I've only been looking at melee.
Warrior is funny because Warrior wants like a 4th GCD trick, and ninjas are like, yeah, that's not fucking happening, buddy. Because Warriors want to do, I think it's Tomahawk, Infuriate, Eye Combo, Inner Chaos, Infuriate, Inner Chaos, Inner Release, 5 Fell Cleaves, Infuriate, Inner Chaos, and then Fell Cleave after that. That's like 9 direct crits in a row from fucking Fell Cleave and Inner Chaos. I was like, you're not getting Trick Attack for like fucking half of those. It's just been absolutely insane. I don't know how much you guys have just melees. I don't even know what's going on with Monk now that you mentioned that, because I'm just focused on the Dancer opener.
From what I've seen, Monk's opener is pretty it's a lot lower than it used to be.
Well, it's because there's no tornado kicks. I mean, no, you can still do 1 in the opener, I think. No, you can't. You got to use PB in the opener before you even have T-kick. And I don't think you're going to unknotman for your stacks back in the middle of the fight instead of attacking. Yeah.
Summer's looking decent, though, with it's finally getting its, it's new Hagakure. I don't know what it's called.
I don't know why Samurai has Agakure and they're like, let's get rid of that. That's dumb. And then ninjas, they're like, you want to consume your Suiton or your Suiton, however it's pronounced. And they're like, no, I don't actually. Can it just work? Can I just press it, please? I don't. It's like 100 potency. The Raiton's like 480. I don't want to do this shit. Didn't someone math out that outside TCJ, Mesui or whatever it is like a potency loss?
It is, yeah, unless you. It's weird. It's like you only use it during downtime or whatever. Like when you can pre-set up downtime, you don't ever use it unless you absolutely know you're getting like a Bava Kakra from it or something. It's basically to align your burst and to get any extra.
That's just.
It seems like an oversight.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the stuff, it feels like they don't give a fuck about how you play with others. It seems like when they said we don't want people to synergize with each other, they just said, fuck it. If we just throw shit at them, they won't be able to line it up and they'll just fucking play the game. It's practically how it feels.
Well, it seems like they added Mesui specifically to use with Tenchi Jin almost. Like it seems like it's supposed to line up that way. Or not, maybe. I'm just speculating, but for it to be a potency loss seems like an oversight to me.
Yeah.
Slime.
Someone in the chat mentioned actually something very interesting.
Okay.
They're talking about how tanks are going to affect healing now, and I don't really think it should just be tanks, right? Feels like almost every job got something that can help either mitigate or heal in some way. Like Dancer, for example, you have Curing Waltz, which is extremely potent for a DPS ability. That's a raid-wide heal, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yes.
that's crazy. The Phoenix is whatever. I mean, Phoenix is like, what, a 5k heal over 20 seconds?
Yeah,
I think
it's
that's just
20
going to be there for
potency
like...
tick.
Yeah, it's just going to be there for like some extra help, you know?
I get why thematically, but I'm still going to ask the question, why? Why isn't it like a 20 potency dot? Like, at least that, if it was happening passively, would, you know, make sense? I guess?
Yeah.
But I mean, every job had a way of affecting it before. There's still Feint, there's still Addle, there's no more like APOC, and there's no what's the old ranged one? There's no Palisade, but there's still like Tactician and Shield Samba, and there's like they're all there, but I don't feel like there's more. I just feel like they oddly gave Dancer Curing Waltz, probably because they were like, well, it's an 11, so we'll just give them it here too, I guess.
That's another thing. Like, you can't balance fight design around bringing certain jobs, right?
Right.
You can't balance fight around Heart of Light, which is the Gunbreaker mitigation AoE, which is 15% of all damage for 15 seconds, right? So damage reduction. I mean, you can't balance around that because then you'd be forced to bring one, right? It's like, it's a really weird situation. Like, I was going over it earlier, and like Heart of Light, it has some pretty crazy potential. Like, it's very situational, but like it's very strong at the same time because it affects all damage, right?
Yeah.
Magic and physical. So like
and it throws autos. It takes, you know, physical autos into account during like AoE damage and shit.
I think a good example of like how good Heart of Light is during ad phase in UCUP, right? You can use Heart of Light for the Mega Flare, and it'll last until the tank busters as well, following the auto attacks and some of the mini busters. So it's like really, really strong and really valuable.
Chat asked the follow-up question. So why is Dark Knight's magical?
To be fair, though, most AoE damage in this game is magical. Like, try to think of a physical damage AoE. It's very, like, you have X Death or near X Death.
I had one. I had another one, too. But I can't remember it.
Yeah, it's very small, though. Like, there's very limited situations, you know?
Remove all mitigation, then your healers will need all those healing buffs.
It's true.
True.
It's true.
It's true.
Probably.
Dark Knights wouldn't work on Justice Kick. There you go. That's one.
Dang.
It's pretty brutal to not have something not work on Justice Kick. That shit hurt.
It's just a lot of tools are really short. So like Heart of Light, I was saying, it's only 90 seconds. Like the CD is only 90 seconds. So it's like that's a pretty that's like, you know, it's the equivalent of you Shake It Off and Dark Missionary, right? They're all in 90-second CDs. Like Shake It Off is better for, you know, big hits, right? Whereas like Dark Missionary and the Heart of Light, they're better for back-to-back, you know, continuous hits.
Yeah.
So
which I'm suspecting we'll see a lot of. We started seeing, I mean, Stormblood at the end of every boss is literally, I'm going to hit you like a dozen times.
You can also use Heart of Light as like a CD, too.
Yeah, you can use it as a personal CD if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like for like having Heart of Light during Titan, right? And Uwu, it wouldn't really make too much of a difference because there's really not that much AoE damage. The tumults can be healed pretty easily. But like you could catch the end of tumults with Heart of Light and then catch the rock busters afterwards too, and the mountain buster. So it's like, you know, it's big value.
But remember, everyone says Gunbreaker's dead on release because of potencies.
Yeah.
Because they won't buff those if they need to. They won't. I can't wait for the full skill speed Gunbreaker.
Ew.
I think it'd be fucking hilarious if Gunbreaker turned out Heart of Light was only physical damage.
Like that's a typo.
Yeah. It really makes no sense that it's all damage, and then I guess it makes sense, but I don't know.
I mean, if they're adjusting damage values, it would have to be all damage.
Yeah, but this is Dark Missionary. It's only magic damage, so it's like big question mark.
That'd be fucked up if we get it. It's just as physical only.
What was it? What was that move? Rage of Alone?
Oh my god. Please don't talking about Jack misses Rage of Hello.
Hey,
is that what you're referring to?
Oh, man.
Well, no, it's the Rage of Hello used to put a physical debuff on the.
Yeah. No, that's it. Used to. Yeah, I thought you were talking about Jack misses Rage of Halone.
No.
Now Jack really misses Rage of Halone because it's Royal Authority now. Sorry, Jack. Okay. So that's the tanks. Tanks is a whole nother discussion. Might have to do another show on that next week. Don't worry.
It affects healers.
Tanks too. I know you level tanks too, Sly. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm still working on tanks.
God damn it. What are you saying?
I was just saying it affects healers, so
yeah,
I feel like it was good to bring up.
They've got a lot more consistent mitigation that, like, they all have like a 25-30 second cooldown. That's like a pretty good amount of mitigation. All of them have something that works, like Sheltron's blocking for 6 seconds, and then you've got what's the block percentage approximately right now? I think I just blocked something a day. It was like 28% or some shit.
It's high 20%, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So if you assume that that's about 28% physical, someone said, Hammer says you can get up to 30, and then you have whatever raw intuition 6 seconds of 20%, and then you have and then Heart of Stone, I think is the technical like not rampart, but like the it could be used on me or someone else equivalent like kind TBM, of ability, kind of like between raw and like nascent and raw intuition, kind of split that as 2 separate abilities in a way. Yeah, they all have stuff that makes them like super mitigative, like whenever they need to be, on top of the passive 20% at all times. So damage kind of has to go up to meet that, doesn't it? Even just to like naturally break even from before take, and then of course, but that's before we consider job effectiveness and how it will vary depending on player skill. It just naturally needs to go up.
Yeah, I mean it does. It's weird. Interesting. I mean, it is.
I agree.
It's. I've never really been a fan of giving tanks shielding, but they gave him even more shield. So I guess we'll find out how that interacts with healing.
I think it makes playing tanks more interesting. It gives you more to do. Yeah. But as a healer,
you're taking my job.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of feels like crap to have to rely on somebody else to mitigate stuff for what you have to do. But I think it makes like the whole party working together thing more interesting, at least.
Yeah, no, that's my favorite part.
Okay, well, with that, I know that Tate, Momo, you guys both have raids within 30 minutes to an hour of now. So I want to give you guys plenty of time to go grab some food, grab some water, whatever, before you have to actually go do that raid. So we're not going to do a 2-hour show this week. But before we get towards wrapping up, thanking the Patreon sponsors, all that, is there any point of stuff from the media tour that we didn't talk about today because we were so focused on healer stuff that you feel is at least a good closing note or an important note that we didn't cover?
It's pretty obvious that there's changes being made. For example, in the job trailer, when you summon Seraph, you get 50 fairy gauge, right? That wasn't in the Mediator build. Fey Blessing also costs 20 in the Shadowbringers job trailer. That wasn't in the Mediator as well. So there's definitely changes made. I think Gunbreaker was also completely different than the Mediator version as well.
I don't know.
Was a dancer.
All I remember is he didn't
use. All I remember is he only used continuation once, but I don't know that was on purpose.
Xena said something about that, but changes have been made and changes are being made and will be made. Once people have hands-on access and start complaining on the forums and whatnot, Screenix will change some stuff, job balance-wise. So.
Yeah, it's been said a million times, but like if you have any complaints and you want them to be heard by Screenix, the official forums is the place to go for it. That is where they look for them the most, I think.
Not Reddit.
But you can vent there. It's a great. You'll get your little echo chamber, but like Square's not going to see it.
No.
Maybe they will. Maybe.
not the people from Square that need to see it.
What about you, Tate? Anything that you took away from Media Tour from that we didn't, I guess, discuss today that you feel is an important note to bring up?
I mean, it's been said a million times. It's basically the changes are going to be huge, right? Like I said at the beginning, is healing might be appealing to a completely different demographic than it is right now. So if you are a healer right now and you don't like how healers are going to be, I know it sucks, but you'll find something else you like, I'm sure. And there will be plenty of people to take the current healer's spots and really give that job its all. And if there is something you don't like, make it heard in a constructive manner on the official forums and all that stuff. And everything is subject to change. Everything. Again, the job video was probably made well before the build we even got to play, so everything is going to be different. There's going to be different potencies, different gauge costs, and all that stuff. So yeah, that's about it.
Sly, anything else for you? I know you and I are going to be doing this like a lot leading up to launch. Like next week, we might wait till Friday to at least have the live letter to change the topic.
I mean, Tate pretty much said what I've said in Stormblood, and it rings true now. Contain the calamity that is your memories.
I don't. That's not exactly how he said.
No, that's word for word what I said.
Okay. Yeah.
Word for word.
I feel like we need to just take that slide that's at the job effectiveness thing and just change it to different quotes at this point. Just change it to these different things. Oh, Sly, I love you and your analogies and metaphors and similes and all sorts of stuff I learned in English class and haven't used since.
That brings up someone said something about bouncing. I don't know how many of you guys played back in Alexander or Heaven's Word.
I don't want to talk about
all of you, right? I think everybody.
Right.
Like they're pretty. Square Enix was really, really slow, maybe even against changing jobs compared to what happened in Stormblood. Like the balance changes we got in Heaven's Word compared to Stormblood are just night and day.
Now, are you talking about at the beginning of Alexander, or like through?
Just overall, I feel like we got more balance changes in Stormblood than we did in Heaven's Word, and I feel like they were actually listening more so and taking more criticism in a sense.
But I kind of feel like sometimes the devs need to just stand firm on a few things. I can understand if there's tremendous outcry, but sometimes you just gotta fucking put your foot down.
I think something the community needs to learn is that you don't have to like every single job in the game. Every single job in the game does not need to be made for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something a lot of people don't seem to grasp, and just needs to be more widely accepted.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this though, oddly, as much as they were slower in Heaven's Word, seems Warrior always gets fixed like within 2 weeks. I don't know what it is. Except in 2.0 it took them till 2.1. 3.0 I think it took them like a month or a patch, and then it took them 2 weeks to fix anything anyone complained about Warrior and stuff. So technically faster. So not Machinist or Dark Knight.
Warrior is like their poster child.
They also have like the loudest players playing them. I love Warriors. They're great.
All right. They're so loud. I love you.
You can't tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, I remember the Shake It Off Your Hotbar memes for OG Shake It Off. Yeah, I remember that. I'd forgotten until now, but now I remember. Xeno Intensify. Yeah, that's accurate. All right. Well, if that's all that we have to say for this very relaxing show, thank you both for joining for this discussion. It's going to get more people's perspective. There are a lot of people attending the media tour. I don't think it's going to be possible to get everyone who attended on, at least not within the time frame before Shadowbringers. But it's good to get some fresh blood on, some fresh meat.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was fun. Had a great time.
Yeah, likewise.
I'm not convinced by your tone, but I'll believe you.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
I had
a fucking awesome time, dude. Thank you so much for having me.
You're like a different person.
I cannot contain my excitement.
You legit turn into a different person when you put that energy in. You don't even your voice isn't even the same person. It's like it's like a coin.
Sorry.
I love it. So much energy. See, when Sly gives me that much energy, he breaks headsets. When you do it, it's just funny. Okay, I guess that was funny too when Sly did it, to be fair. Okay, well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap the show. We're going to thank our Patreon sponsors. I know we've been doing it at the end of the show, but it's because interrupting discussion when it's something that stuff people are very passionate about is hard to do. So thank you to our sponsors over on Patreon who've been supporting through #demonetized. A few of my media tour videos were demonetized for the first day. Monk Machinist are the two I know of at the very least. I don't know why, but what it does
Did you say
mean,
the F word?
No, surprisingly, I didn't. I know. I'm just as surprised as you are, Tate. I don't know what it is. It's not like when my Vieira video got flagged because they thought it said male Viagra instead of male Vieira. That was, yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, it did say male Vieira. Will we get male Vieira? I can't believe
they only have female Viagra.
I said, will we get male Vieira? And they mistook it as, will we get male Viagra? And it got demonetized for like a day or two before they watched it.
That's funny.
Yeah, so Patreon helps deal with situations like that, where they think I'm making videos about, erection pills. So, first of all, we have to thank our patrons of light, soon-to-be patrons of darkness, Khuja Cross on Jenova and Kurenai Oni. Kurenai sent me a new picture. I totally don't have it in this list, though. And I still have the quote from Sphia up on there, so let me adjust that. Good quote, by the way, Sphia, the clapping quote. We used it earlier in the thing, and I know you're here. So that's Khuja Cross on Jenova. Again, I don't have a different image for them, so we've had the same image of them scantily clad outside of what is that? Is that Ishgard? Yeah, it's Ishgard. Okay. I can tell it was very colorful. And we still have Kurenai, who's still standing by Sly. He'll always be with you, Sly. I actually just want to keep this picture.
That scares me.
He'll always be there by his. No, I have a different picture for him, but I have two other pictures of him standing next to you if you'd prefer me to use a different one. No? No? You like this one? Okay.
I'm good.
All right, that's fine.
Lesser of two evils.
All right, and then we have the rest of our sponsors. We have our standard Stay of the Realm sponsors. We got Jay Gardner 99, Benjamin, Irish Rager, George, Batar Garl, Yufa, Kenshi on Excalibur, Scumlord, Itsumi Amarillo of Gilgamesh, Ravik, Card Drakens from Fanfrit, Sigurd Drake from Balmung, Edge Fair on Ultros, Jerica, Emma, Zernikborg 13, Krista Uzuki, Crazy Meter from Midgar, Rija Ventinus from Cactar, Carol, Seraphina Edelie, Senchi, Shadowlink on Tonberry, Dom, Sukawake from Jenova, Limilla Nelhah, Micker, Sarmer, Serren the Fennel family, Janhyua Yotsuyu, Kifca and the Great Eagles on Exodus, Katayoshi from Kujata, Skyasophonia from Ragnarok, Rylanator Westaus The Purple Warrior, Eadric Redsteele on Exodus, Lexxie Valentine, Mantaru the Rivivus FC from Zodiark, Sour Cream and Chives from Jenova, Rynoet Chikara, Goetia Valefar of Siren, Phoenix Down FC on Goblin, and Serren from Zodiark. Did I say that person's name twice? I don't know. It feels like it did. Then we have our elite Stay of the Realm sponsors. We have Semiel Astoriath of Excalibur. Semiel, like that name. I've watched a lot of Lucifer lately, even rewatching the earlier seasons. Endless 88, Illuria, Maylene, Noel, Sumbla, Nakuneame, Shauna Senpai of Behemoth, Zoshime Hasha of Fanfrit, Beatrice, Kazuzu, Vapatiama of Diablo, Shadow Ari of Brynhilder, Zeraviro of Coral, Alchemy, Shinka, Casual Heroes FC on Megard Sarmer, Tatachtak on Hyperion, Kainazuki from Jenova, Yu Starla on Coral, Zathal, Sarah Frost from Behemoth, Holy Tabasco, Crass 015, Serenity FC on Ultros, Kat Kazuma, Ignis Farrakhan from Excalibur, Valestra of Fanfrit, Not Quarters from Excalibur, Corvus Moonscar, Private Mikey, Nada Karisami, Rudy Whittaker, Kalakman Rawl Jr., and Kotastic Jones. So thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
And
that's a lot of cool people.
That is a lot. It's a lot of PogChamps in the chat. Also, I like scrolling through after I'm done to see how many people partook in the PogChampering. Okay.
Do you have Pepe DD enabled?
What happened?
Do you have Pepe DD enabled?
I don't have Pepe DD enabled.
Dude, what are you doing?
Listen, if I'm going to enable any of them, I'm going to enable Pepe Saber 2.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
I don't even actually have that enabled. I have Pepe Sabers. I don't know. I think the other one might be somebody's like private emote that somebody just gave me to use in Discord.
All I know is that I really like Pepe Sabers too. It's fantastic. All right. Now, with that, gentlemen, before you have to go and get ready for your raids, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you at? We'll start from the bottom right with Momo. Where can they find you at?
YouTube.com/Final Fantasy 14 Momo and Twitch.tv/Final Fantasy 14 Momo. Make sure you spell it right. It's pretty complicated. It's FFXIVMomo. I know.
That rhymed.
Words are hard, man. Words are hard.
It did rhyme. You're right. What the heck?
It's all right. You didn't do it on purpose, so it doesn't matter. It's okay. Thanks for that. Thanks. Good call out, Mo. Tate.
No problem, dude.
Tate, where can they find your beautiful face?
You could find me on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter. Goldentot everywhere. That's it.
That's fortunate that you got all that. Like all consistent.
I mean, the only thing even close to that is Goldentot, which is a tote bag company. That sometimes you'll get that if you search it on Tumblr, but otherwise, no, I'm good, man.
Well, nobody searches on Tumblr anymore because all their porn is gone. But anyway,
that's fair.
Any content in the coming weeks? Anything new?
It's asking you.
Shadowbringers.
Shadowbringers.
Yeah, oh wow, that's coming out already.
Yeah.
One word: Shadowbringers.
Any new content soon?
Be prepared.
Now I hope I see a video on your YouTube channel that's just called Shadowbringers and is a parody of some kind.
I gotta get that. I gotta get the full ESPN trailer out. I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I need that.
I really want to get a telestrator to do raid guides as John Madden. I feel like it'd be a pleasant experience. All right. Sly, where can they find you at? You got to be a little quick. You got to rest a little this time because you seem tired because it was all healer discussion. But where can they find you at?
I was more tired last week.
You did. You had more. I felt like you had more energy last week. I'll give you that. You seem more tired this week.
No. You can find me at twitch.tv/Slyakagreyfox, Twitter at Slythefox, youtube.com/thevelvetroom. Yeah. Hi.
These outros are fan-fucking-tastic, you know that? All of them. Tate wins.
With chest.
Actually, no, Momo wins.
Say it with your chest, yeah.
Yeah. God damn it. I say everything with my chest. And then I take a deep breath afterwards. And I'm Mr. Happy. You can find me, Mr. Happy127, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Posting pictures of my cat or videos on YouTube, which I do sometimes, fairly frequently. It's pretty nice. E3's coming up. Square Enix. Yeah. Square Enix.
Are they revealing something?
More 7 and
7. Let's see. Square Enix is what? 7 remake, Avengers Project. This new sci-fi game called Outriders that they just teased like 2 days ago. That has like no followers on Twitter yet, but I saw it. Everyone's predicting Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC will probably get talked about. We're hoping for something regarding Octopath since it's hitting Steam on Friday. If you haven't played, by the way.
DLC.
Well, we know they're working on an Octopath 2 and the mobile game in Japan. We know those two things, but we don't know.
I still need to beat Octopath. I started replaying it again. It's just so much fun.
Oh, it's so good. It's got my favorite final boss and final boss OST of any RPG.
Last time I played it, I was like, I found, I think it was the Rune Fencer cave, and I was like, this looks cool. Spent 30 minutes fighting it, and then it went to phase 2 and one-shot me.
Yep, that's the Rune Fencer boss. That is most certainly the Rune Fencer boss. All right.
Always fun.
Yeah, and then we're hoping to see some other cool shit from a bunch of other companies. I've seen some rumors, and I'm excited.
F-Zero, please.
All right,
please, it exists.
Calm down.
Just exists.
It's never gonna happen. Just accept it.
Please.
It's never Sly. Here's what. Here, I promise they'll announce it, and then a year from now they'll tell us they started over. Perfect. Anyway, sorry, Metroid fans. All right. Anyway, Tate's got to go raid soon, so we're going to wrap up. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. We will see you next week. And don't know if we're doing the show on Tuesday or Friday. We'll make a formal announcement on Twitter because we could wait for the live letter. But Sly and I will discuss it, and we'll see where we land. So thank you, everyone, for watching, and we will see you next week. Until then, bye-bye.
See you next week.
Bye.
And we're still hot mic'd, but I know you got to leave, Tate. So you don't have to wave anymore. They can't... Tate's still...
Tate's still waving to us.
He's still waving. I almost want to put him back on the screen because
this is gifable.
It's GIF.
I feel like this is the GIF.
Yeah, it's
oh my god.
It's the most. This is the most frightening thing He's still going. Now you're on screen.
It's a GIF. It's not. He's
not actually there. It's just a GIF that he's been playing the whole time.
He looks like one of those pictures that just move one object. And
I said he has to go raid, and he spent an extra 45 seconds.
I'm melding my uwu gear, man.
You can't do that while you're staring at the camera and waving.
You're not wrong.
Oh man, that was high energy right there. I wish I had that energy. I didn't drink any Pepsi that whole time.